It's Trader Talk. It's Trader Talk.
Folks. Welcome back to Beta Investments. My name is Timmy.
I gotta get a good one. Ooh, the edges on this one looking. I don't think it's near mint. Let's see the other side. Yeah, the printing's pretty rough. I'm gonna say this is heavily played.
You're learning so many important things, and I'm so proud of you.
I want to show you something. All right. Now you tell me, what is the difference between this ETB and this ETB? You can pre-order it right now. $38.83. This has been blown out, sold out. You can't get it. This one's $54.92 out of stock. But this one is $38.83. Do you see the problem here?
So the den is live. The den is available at any time, but the problem, like most of us are having, is ethically sourcing, product without being just blatantly ripping people off or scalping or anything like that. So originally, I had been building up inventory over years, right? And most of my personal collection is gone now, but throughout I'd say the last, couple of years, I had little bits and pieces that I kept adding on. I would say it really ramped up in the last 7 months before it got super crazy. And it was little here's and there's. And I was like, okay, well, I want to start a shop. And so I launched at first an eBay account, right?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, we'll do and this goes back into flipping garage stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I was finding one of the things I sold was a Care Bear suitcase from 1983.
Sick.
Okay. Something really vintage, came with the key and everything. It was really cool. So I threw that up there, but then I also put up some cards, and the cards got more interest and more traction, which kind of reinforced me getting into cards. So I started putting up more of my own things, as I need to get a few more bucks in my pocket. And so that kind of created this reinforcement of getting more cards. And then the eBay became basically all cards, right? Singles and slabs and, bundles and whatever, what have you. And I kind of was doing pretty good with that and chugging through, but I did start depleting my inventory. And then I was like, dang, these fees suck.
Yeah.
I can't stand these fees. And the thing that really took me over the edge was that they were hitting me with fees after taxes and shipping, right? So that 13% is more I don't know, 16%. It was it was too much. Yeah. So I tried doing TCG Player. TCG Player was overly complicated. And it was too small level because you have the single cards or whatever. And I was like, this is taking forever to upload these things.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in the bulk.
Right.
I tried organizing them. I was like, this is not working. And then it hit me at the end where it's and you're in charge of your own shipping. And I was like, dang. So now I don't even get the eBay discount. If I sell a card on eBay, I get at least an envelope for 69 cents or something like that. Well, now TCG Player, I'm paying $1.50 to send something out. And I'm doing bulk, which means I'm selling it for 25 cents. This doesn't make any sense either. So I ended up pretty much scrapping that one. And then I was like, well, what can I do that makes sense? And then I was like, well, if I run my own site and I just kind of self-promote it as best I can, then I'll save 20% and I can bring down the prices and all my stuff and be a little bit more competitive. And just overall not feel like I'm just throwing money away at that shipping and fees. So that's kind of where it came. And it's still active. If you go on my site right now, you'll see that it's set up to in a maintenance mode, and it'll say new inventory is coming.
Okay.
And that ties back to the physical shop. So what's happening now is I'm at the physical shop, I'm trading something in, given cash or whatever. And then if that doesn't sell that weekend, then I throw it up on the TCG den and people can buy it throughout the week. And that way I constantly have a rotating shop, of different items. So that's
Ah,
kind of what's going on there. And if I have stuff that isn't moving, I'll do bundles or something like that, get it really appealing, try to sell it for a good price. But yeah, it's kind of like in like a video game where you go to like, if you play like a roguelike or something like that, and you walk over and that you have that one chance to go to the shop and has different items,
hmm.
and then you leave and it closes,
Yeah.
and then you come back and it changes the items.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
kind of what
yeah.
I was going for a little bit. You come
Nah.
in weekly and you don't know what you're going to find. You can have anything. And so, yeah, it's kind of fun.
No way. Oh, see. Oh, all right. I'm
Yeah.
glad I asked.
Yeah.
Wow. Grass Gang and cousins, welcome back to another episode of Trainer Talk with Rocket Scott and Smoke 'em On. Every week we bring in some of your favorite content creators and get to know them a little better. This week, I'm very excited to talk with my guest. He has his own Pokemon shop, has his own YouTube channel right now, 135 subs, somehow already got 119 videos, almost 30,000 views on those videos. Been doing it for about 6 months. Grass Gang, help me welcome in Tiger.
What up, guys? Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Smoke, for having me. I really appreciate you bringing me on and bringing me into your world here.
It's not a problem, dude. I'm excited to have you here. This might not be the only time that everybody gets to see you either, because I don't know how much we'll get through today, but
Hey, I'm like I said, an open book. You can ask me anything. I'll tell you all about it.
I'm sure they saw from that intro. Tiger
Yeah,
can
yeah,
talk, so we'll be good.
yeah.
All right, so Tiger, I wanted to ask you when did you, a young Tiger, first get into the hobby or the Pokemon in general?
Mhm.
What was it? When was it?
All right. So when I was a wee little cub, at the ripe age of probably, I don't know, 4 or 3, um, my older brother came home, and so my older brother did not live with me. I have divorced parents, but he's 5 years older than me. So that probably puts him at what I said 4. So that probably puts him at like 9 or 10. Maybe my ages are a little off. It's a little fuzzy. It's hard to
Sure.
remember that
Yeah.
far back with my old age now. But he comes home for the summer because he lives in Montana and I live in California.
Okay.
And basically this is at the height of Pokemania, right? And I'm still really young, but I'm impressionable. I like my older brother, and he comes home with a binder full of these weird little pictures and weird little monsters on them. And the one that sticks out to me more than any of them is the base set Electrode. I don't know why, but that one caught my eye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not even like my favorite card or anything. I don't know. It just caught my eye. So I remember that and being like, hey, what is this? And so he tells me about it. And we spend like, a couple weeks together for his summer break. And we're walking around. He's me and the other kids, and they all have their cards. You know how it was back then.
Yeah,
And they're trading and everything. I'm like, I want cards. And so I think he gives me some like, Raritas and, a couple Caterpies here and
of
there.
course.
Um, but he also gives me his Game Boy, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because he had gotten, I think, the Game Boy Color or something like that.
Sure.
So he gives me his old Game Boy, and he's like, "Here, you can have this one." And he hands me, I think it was blue, right? Or it was silver. I can't remember. One of the two. And he plays the game with me, and I'm like, oh, that's super cool. And he's like letting me like play with it. And I'm thinking like, this is just for me to enjoy while he's here. It didn't click with me that these are gifts. So
Oh,
yeah. So a
yeah.
couple weeks go by. Yeah, yeah. A couple weeks go by and I'm walking in and he's like in the Elite Four or something like that. And I look over and I'm like, hey, that's a different color, right? Of the cartridge.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's I think it was blue that he had been playing. I'm like, where's the blue one? Why is that one that one? And he's messing with me and he's telling me like, oh, I repainted it or whatever. You know, he put a sticker on it. So come to end of summer, it's like our last couple days together, and he goes, all right, Ty, my birthday's in August. Okay, I'm August 1st. And he goes, for your birthday, I got you this. And then he actually hands me both blue and silver. right? And I didn't realize that one of them was my gift, right? So he let me play the one he already had, you know,
Okay.
and then he bought me the new version. So I think the way it worked out is that he bought me silver, you know, as a like a birthday gift and a parting gift. And so that's kind of where it all began. And over the years, just, you know, obviously at Walmart or Target or wherever I can, I'm asking my parents, like, can I have a pack? Can I have a pack? And I don't even care if it has any like hits. I don't know what a hit is.
Yeah.
All I know is that it's got a cool little mon on it and I'm happy with it. And I probably crumpled them. Um,
Sure.
you know, and so you know, years go on and I remember for Christmas, my grandparents got me Ruby. And I didn't understand why, because I couldn't play Ruby,
Uh.
right?
Uh.
Ah, and then my dad hands me the Game Boy SP
Oh
that
my
came with Donkey Kong Country 2, right? And that was the shiznit. I had
bro.
that every day, everywhere I went. I still listen to the music. I love it. I absolutely love it. So Hoenn, by far is my favorite region,
Okay.
third gen,
Yeah.
um, followed up by second gen. I think second gen came a little too early to where it didn't hit that core memory like Hoenn did for me. But absolutely love the games and over the years collected my cards. Now we're probably late elementary school, middle school at this point, and now comes the famous I got bullied, right? And we all did. It's the same story. So I started getting bullied at school for liking Pokemon. It's no longer cool.
Yeah.
And you know what people play? We play Yu-Gi-Oh now.
Uh.
So we all moved over to
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh. And I have a lot of fond memories of Yu-Gi-Oh
Yeah.
too. So this is a mistake I made, but I decided I would get rid of my cards so that way when my friends come over, they wouldn't make fun of me.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I took like I remember I had a Starmie in there. I think I had a Venusaur in there. These are all like old base set cards and a couple Neo Genesis
No.
stuff. I take them and I put them all in a deck box. And then my little like 10-year-old brain goes, I'm gonna wrap it up with electrical tape. So I started wrapping this box up with electrical tape. I go out to the yard, I start digging a hole. And I'm like, this will be a time capsule. I'll
Okay.
come back and get my cards later.
Okay.
I don't think they're there, dude. I think that they're long since disintegrated into the earth. So I don't have my cards anymore. Even if I did, it would be like there's a scene from Lampoon's Vacation in Vegas where they're trying to find jars of money. So they're digging holes all over the yard. I have no idea where I buried it. I'd have to get a construction crew out here to find it. So I lost most of my cards that way.
No way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I try to remember, things are still a little fuzzy. I end up losing my cards. Got really into Yu-Gi-Oh! I still have my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so that was cool because I was playing them with friends and stuff. Tried signing up for a little play event at Toys R Us when I was like probably 12 or something like that.
Wow.
You know, ended up not going, but I remember that core memory of me and my dad sitting on dial up and doing that. And so we missed that because I told him like, oh, it was supposed to be this or whatever. And he's like, I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up to you. So what happened? So we end up um I end up going to, it's like a year later, I end up going to boys and girls clubs for a
Okay.
summer. Okay.
Yeah.
Parents are both working. My other brother, because I have stepbrothers and stuff. The one that lives in Montana can't come down. He's gone for the summer. My other brother, he goes to Arizona to see his dad. So I'm by myself.
Okay.
And I go to the Boys and Girls Club, right? And I'm sitting in the place and I have like no friends. I don't know anyone. And then I see two kids playing Yu-Gi-Oh on the table.
There
And
we
I'm
go.
like, there we go. I'll bring my deck in. And so I come in the next day, I bring in my deck, we start playing. I did okay, you know, I can't remember, but the point is that he busts out the Pokemon binder and he goes, look at my Pokemon cards. And I'm like, oh, cool, you know, and I get all excited because this is the first time since like being bullied that I actually saw Pokemon cards in a public place again. You know what I mean? So I go through them and I'm looking at them and I'm like, these are the like super cool and brings me back. Cause at that point it'd been like what, 3 or 4 years or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know, a good enough time to where when you're that young, it was like a lifetime,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, since
yeah.
I seen them. So I go home and I tell my dad about it. I'm like, Dad, dude, they had these Pokemon cards, and you know, I really miss my Pokemon cards, and I buried them, and I don't know where they are.
You
You
buried
know, I buried
them?
them, right, right. He doesn't know about this part. And he's like, no, you have them right here. And he's in my room. I'm like, no, those are Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Those are different, you know?
Right.
And so I try to explain it to him. He doesn't get it. And he's like, well, you know, what we'll do is we'll find you a lot of them. I'm like, okay, we'll find a lot. And we go to the store and they're like pretty expensive now. And we're in like mid-era now, you know, like this is like pearl and diamond, you know, cards.
Sure.
And if I remember right, it wasn't like a very high population of cards at the time. So they're kind of harder to find. Like Pokemania had died off and a lot of the normal stores
Yeah.
stopped carrying them, you know? And so we couldn't really find anything too crazy. And he's like, well, you know what, son, we'll just we'll go home and we'll see what we can find online. And we go online and we bust out, this is now dial up on my home internet because I'm out in the countryside. You know this because of the whole Starlink
Yeah,
situation I
okay.
got going on. So I'm out in the rural county. So we're sitting there on eBay on dial up, and he finds this box, and this box has like it's like listed like 2,000 cards or whatever, like $70. And we bought them. We took them to the Boys and Girls Club. I'm super ecstatic in there. There's a couple cards. I don't know what happened to them, but they're floating around here somewhere. But just like awesome to have this giant box full of old school cards. I'm
Yeah.
showing them to all my new friends and everything. And that was a really cool memory for me. And so after that summer, I would say that's the last real like wow factor of Pokemon in my life. I think I kind of started to just mature out of it at that
Yeah.
point, started getting interested in, you know, Final Fantasy games, play a little bit of COD every once in a while, started liking girls, you know, that kind of thing, just moved on.
Of course.
And so, you know, I would say I was out of it until Kalos, which is the Mega Evolutions for was it X and Y? That's what sucked me back in. Had been that long from Diamond and Pearl to X and Y. So I missed Black and White 2. And I think
Yeah.
that was it, right? It was just X and Y after that.
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah. Sun and Moon's after, Sword and Shields after.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
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 So that brought me back because of the megas. That was like nostalgia bait for me. So I saw Mega Charizard and Blastoise and everything. And I was like, hell yeah. So I got into that.
The
Um
cards? Or
the
anime
game.
game? Oh,
The
okay.
game,
Oh,
the
oh, yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I should
No,
have
no.
clarified.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game. So the
Oh,
game brought me back into Pokemon after that lull of not being interested
okay.
in it,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. And so ever since then I've been like casually collecting here and there. Um but yeah, that's kind of like my history, you know,
Yeah.
of my Pokemon experience. And you could jot that down for my Wikipedia page. There you go.
Marshall, get on that.
Yeah.
So you were even playing Diamond and Pearl. You had that was a 3DS Diamond and Pearl, right?
That was the regular DS. That wasn't the 3DS.
Oh,
So
right. Okay. Yeah,
remember
yeah.
the silver one, like big chunky silver
I
one?
remember the big chunky. Yeah.
Yeah, the big chunky one. So I had that one and I
Okay.
had Diamond and Pearl and I played it. And then I think my brother broke my DS at some point, and so I ended up stop playing it. I'm not super attached to those ones. I was
Yeah.
really like emotionally attached to, like I said, Ruby and Sapphire, Emerald, because I got Emerald later on, and Silver and Gold. And I really wanted to get into Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Right.
Um, but at the time, I don't know why I didn't get it. I don't think I had a DS,
Right. Yeah,
you
exactly.
know. And now I like if I want to go play the original experience, I mean, those are so expensive now. Those are like to get the actual cartridge, I think it's like $200 or something crazy.
Your Heart Gold and so.
Something like that. Those DS
Oh my
cartridges.
God! No way.
Yeah, yeah. Here, let me double check
Dang.
that. You know, let me there's I just want to make sure I'm not speaking
I
falsities
know the
here.
prices of some of the older, like the Game Boy and the Game. I didn't know even the DS ones were
Yeah, well,
over
I think
60.
that Heart Gold and Soul Silver wasn't printed as much like we see with some sets and everything with cards. I don't think that they actually sold a lot of those copies because this was again towards the time where Pokemon was at probably its weakest point, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Black and White was the reboot to try to bring it back. And I don't think that they sold very much. And on top of that, you had like the Pokewalker, which was probably like a printing nightmare for them to actually make that. Okay, yeah, here we go. So just the cartridges, just to kind of show it on eBay for both of them, it is $330.
A little more than $60 a cartridge or whatever it was, 50. I don't even remember what they used to be.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
if you held that, that was a good investment too.
That couldn't have been that long ago, no? 2016, maybe? Am I
I
bugging?
don't know.
It couldn't
No,
have been
no,
that
no.
long
It
ago.
was Heart Gold, Soul Silver. That was Diamond and Pearl era.
Get
Pretty
out of here.
sure. Let me see. Heart Gold, Soul Silver release date. I mean, I think that was like probably the best era of Pokemon games. 2009.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, damn.
2009.
Ah,
Yeah, so that would have made me 13, 14 when it came out, right? So again, that was in the era where I was probably getting a little bullied too, so I probably just lost, interest in it,
right.
you know. But dude, going back and looking at those games, I mean, what a treat. They really went ham on those,
Yeah, no.
And Black and White, I've never actually played, but I really like Unova's Pokemon. So I know I'd enjoy it. I just don't have the time to play it anymore. But
And
yeah.
you ended up buying a 3DS or whatever DS it was and X and Y or one of them?
Yeah. So at that point, I did actually have one. I bought one and I got X and Y on release day.
Whoa, no
And
way.
yeah, and
Oh,
I came back pretty strong with that
yeah,
one,
right.
and that was like the introduction to Fairy type and the Mega Evolutions, and I was so hyped out. I loved it. Played it all the way through, and then they released Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Oh, dude, so good. That was like right up my nostalgia. So I played that, got all the legendaries, chased all the different, mons, got everything done. Absolutely loved it. Um, yeah, that's kind of the story. So now here we are. What is it, 2025?
Mhm.
I probably ebb and flow, came in and out, over the years. I would say, 2014 was X and Y, and then we went into Pokemon Go.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I wasn't like in love with the game. I'm not a big Pokemon Go like enjoyer because I had actually played the Niantic game prior to that,
Get out
where it
of
was
here.
just the lines. Yeah, but I can't remember the name of it now. Um, but I played it a little bit, and I was like, "This is a cool idea, but not very fun." So when I saw it was Pokemon Go was the same thing, I thought kind of the same thing, and I also think it's because of where I live.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no Pokestops.
Yeah, right.
I'm out in the middle. I have a meme somewhere. I'll share it with you.
Mm.
Where it's like living out in the middle of nowhere. Um, and what it's like playing Pokemon Go. It's just there's just nothing out
You
here.
can't
So
play it. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't really play it much. So yeah, I got out of it from that point, but I had a little bit of nostalgia for Pokemon Go because I did go to like, local events and stuff like that and go to the parks and saw everyone. I think that was like probably one of the most exciting, happiest times, like as a community and as a people. And I don't
Yeah.
mean just Pokemon. I just mean as like a group of people, like a country, but for the
Sure.
whole world. That was it was like the opposite of COVID. It like
Yeah.
180,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
amazing. It was so much fun. People from every, types of background all playing together. It was really cool.
Exactly. Dude, I mean, I live in the city, like in New Jersey, so like a lot of
Mhm.
cities and stuff, suburbs. People were out, dude, like
Yeah. Yeah.
dangerous to a point, like too many
Yeah.
people when that shit released. And it was just
Yeah.
the first 100, I don't even know if all 150 were there on release, but whatever it
No.
was, you couldn't
Yeah.
battle. I don't think there might have been gyms, but
Yeah. Yeah. It
everybody was
was
out.
it was awesome. And
Yeah.
actually, my brother, so this actually ties back in. Um, my brother, the same one that got me the games originally, had moved to California at this time. And he was living in a little like rural area, like kind of where I live, but it was a little bit more populated. So I remember go visiting him and he's like, "Hey, let's go for a walk." And we actually played Pokemon Go on the walk. And there was a couple things we could do, but I remember looking around and this is before like TikTok and stuff. And I noticed people looking at their phones while they're walking. you know, and I'm like, are you guys playing Pokemon Go? And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know, and everyone was playing. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is really cool. Nowadays, you see people looking at their phone, you're like, oh, they're just on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And it's so normal. And it's like, I don't know, it's so shallow now. I wish that would come back. Hopefully they do something that like revitalizes it, but I don't know what they'd be able to do. But yeah, it was a awesome time. Pokemon has so much emotional value for everyone who is into it.
Yeah.
It has such a draw. I was actually thinking about making a video, which was a commentary on why Pokemon. Like, it's not the most technically advanced brand. It's not the most like amazing thing in the world. Like, Disney can't reproduce what Pokemon has done, you know. And it's like Pokemon is kind of an underdog. Now it's not, but back in the day, it's an underdog, and other people had done it before them. So it's like, what made Pokemon be Pokemon? And that's something I think about a lot now.
Yeah, and a lot of competition that came with it too. As
Oh
soon
yeah,
as
oh
they
yeah,
started, and I guess competing with Magic in a way too, because Magic was
yeah,
doing TCG. But I'd probably watch that, dude. You're
yeah.
gonna find an answer? Is that what you're telling me? You know
I don't
some?
know. I don't know. I was inspired by watching a guy who went to the real life Japanese like Alf like Grifts or whatever it is. It's like in silver where you go inside and you find all the unknowns.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Turns out it's a real place in Japan,
Sick.
you know, and he actually did a documentary of him going there and like recording him going inside like the tunnels to get to it, and it's been abandoned, and Japan has not like cleaned it all up and made it touristy or anything.
Yeah.
Like they left it original, so you have to like hike and go into a spot and go underground and go into these caves and everything, and you actually can be what is the inspiration of those caves in the game. And I was like, this is really cool. I would love to make something like this, but like more of a like psychological, like what is it about Pokemon as a whole that makes it work so well for like humanity.
Yeah.
I don't mean to make it so like dramatic, but it really is something unique. We don't have anything like it.
Of course. And the way people are spending their money now, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, new people are getting into the hobby, but it's a lot of people like us too. So it's
Yeah,
definitely emotional ties that we
yeah,
made when we were kids. Yeah, they're strong enough to last.
absolutely.
Do you have a Switch? Did you ever go into Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet?
So I do have a Switch. I
Nice.
never got into the games. So okay, so now we get into the other side where I saw the releases of the Switch games and I saw that what I felt was low effort
Mm.
and I got angry. So I boycotted it. When I saw that they were not doing national decks, when I saw all the like glitches in Sword and Shield, when I saw that the zone where you actually can see the Pokemon like walking around was only one section of the game,
Mm.
I was like, come on, guys, we got like Bloodborne, and this is what you're giving us. Like, this is the effort that we get from Game Freak. And so because of that, I don't know. I was like kind of, you know, insulted by it. And I hate to say it that way, but that's kind of how I felt. So I ended up boycotting it. Um, and then they released Arceus,
Yep.
and then Arceus was awesome. I
No,
got
you
that.
got it?
Yeah, that
Nice.
one I got, you know,
Okay.
and I was like,
Cool.
Arceus is what it should have been to begin with,
Yeah.
you know. Now I still feel like, graphics wise and the
Right.
fidelity and everything, they could do more, and they know they can do more. You know, I mean, Power World came out of nowhere and gave them the old 1-2. You know, it's like, come on, guys, we wouldn't be celebrating Power World as much if you gave us that additional effort. You know, but you've been riding on this high, and I think this comes from them trying so hard with Black and White, and Black and White failing to meet their expectations as a company. Because if you go from Black and White to X and Y, and you see the story and you see the efforts and you see the way that they really presented everything, it does feel like X and Y took a step back, even though I liked it. It does feel like X and Y had a lot more love and also a little bit more of like a mature tone to it. This is something I've been griping about for a while. I wish that Pokemon would make something for older fans. You know, I would love to play, like, we have like Detective Pikachu, which is pretty cool, but I want to have like an actual like LA noir type of detective game against Rocket, or like see like Giovanni's rise as being like a ruthless like gangster. Like, I want something that makes me go like, okay, this is Pokemon, but for like adults. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I feel like the right now it's a little too chibi. It's like too much for kids, and I know it's a kid friendly thing, but like other like Like think of like have you ever watched The Boys from
I no, but I know what it
no?
is, kind of, but no, I
Yeah.
never watched it. I heard I
Yeah,
should.
yeah. It's kind of like, superheroes, but
Yeah.
in a bad way. I
Yeah.
kind of want that a little bit. You don't need to be like super like bad and mature, but I want a little bit of grit to it. And I felt like Pokemon is it Generations or something like that, where it's a story of red and blue. They had that a little bit. Like they kind of gave us the real story in that special anime, and that was really good. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that makes sense of what I'm trying to say, but I just want a little bit more catered to me, the old fart, than
Yeah, sure.
the kids. And the kids can obviously still get most of it. I just want a little bit.
When I had the Pokemon doctor on here, he was raving about X and Y as well. If I'm remembering correctly, it might be his favorite
Mhm.
anime season or region,
Yeah,
whatever it was. He was
yeah,
telling me the same type of thing that you were just saying.
yeah. I was trying to watch Horizons. I
Oh,
was
you're
trying to
right.
get into it, and I had a hard time. I feel like if I had kids, I would be really into it. But like me as an adult who's been out of it, like on the show side for a
Yeah.
long time, it's kind of hard for me to get back into it when I'm like, yeah, it's a kid show at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was
You know,
trying to, but yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
So hopefully, again, that's all I want. I just want a little crime syndicate. Give me a little rocket, a little turf war between Magma and Rocket or something. That would be
Yeah,
sick.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, a little fight over Pokemon, something.
Solid idea. I like it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We know from the leaks that they have some crazy ideas. They have some stuff in there, you know.
sure. I
So
so Arceus, how deep did you get into it? Because I played that game for an embarrassing like 400 or 500 hours, I think.
I didn't get that far.
Okay.
So I got to probably about halfway through. I
Okay.
got to an area where it was really snowy. I can't remember
Yeah.
because I played it when it came out. Like I said, I think I got my Pokemon to like level 40 or 50 or something like that, my main team. And then I just kind of dropped it. And I want to pick it back up, and I probably will, but I don't think I still have my original save. I think I'd have to start from scratch.
Well, I think ZA when it comes out too. If I think it's supposed to be that kind of game, like
Yeah.
Arceus. Yeah. So
Yeah. So that's got that I'm excited about because then it's
yeah.
it's X and Y plus Arceus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is gonna be really cool.
I
Like
didn't
that
even
I'm
put that
excited about.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing's like crafted for me to like bring me back in. The only thing they could do is like have it to where you take like a plane to Johto and like
Right.
silver, like something like that would
Yeah.
happen. And then I'd be like, okay, this game is like
Yeah, it
literally
did.
perfect now, you know?
I'm pretty excited for that one. I'll be playing it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So no Scarlet and Violet either. The boycott's still staying strong.
I will come back to it. I will try it. It's been long enough, and there's a lot of cards that I'm like, oh, who's this? Like
Yeah,
Cerulege?
right.
I didn't know who that was, but
Yeah.
now I'm looking at all these arts. I'm like, dude, Cerulege is pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
I wanna see that. Like some of these Pokemon are pretty cool. Some of them I'm like, but I feel that way about all of them. You know what I mean? All the generations have some real hitters and some real missers. So yeah, I'll
Right.
pick it up. I'll try it again.
It's pretty as Golden Go in that game. You could you
Yeah,
could you could walk around as the Pokemon, so you could become Golden Go and just surf around it is pretty
really?
it's a pretty fun time.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I
Yeah.
know that you could like walk around and you could find the little what is it, gimme ghouls? Like
Yep.
you go to pick up
That's
something
how
or
you catch
whatever.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was cool, but I didn't know you could like actually be Goldingo and like surf around. That's pretty
There's like
cool.
a telepathy mode, and you go into the Pokemon. You run around as the Pokemon. You go fighting the wild Pokemon, and it's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
yeah. I have to play that for sure now. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's definitely they definitely like you were saying they definitely dove into the. It's definitely a kids game for sure.
Yeah.
Scarlet and
Yeah, of
Violet,
course.
big doesn't seem adult at all, but a very fun game. Yeah.
Yeah. The core, as long as the core gameplay is there, I'm happy.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, like that, the battling system has always been the draw. And I've always been a big turn based RPG guy. I talked about earlier with Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
where Final Fantasy went more into action RPG.
Right.
Pokemon has always been consistent turn based. And I think it always will be. And it
Yeah.
works out great.
We're gonna see. I don't. I hope ZA's not changing it. I don't know if you saw some of the battles from that, but
It looks like you run around, but it still looks like you do the commands, and it still looks like they may take their time, like back and forth, but
yeah.
like you engage a little bit differently. I think they can make it work. I hope it's not too radically different.
Right.
But
Exactly.
I think it's still gonna be a turn based. It's just more action turn based, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
A little faster is good with me.
Yeah, walking around and fighting with different
Mhm.
buttons, I think, using different moves.
Yeah.
Seems pretty exciting, but yeah,
Yeah.
if they go too far away, it could definitely screw things up. And
Mhm.
the reintroduction into the cards itself, was that something like did the carbs come back when you got in back in with XY or
So I remember buying a box of evolutions when
okay,
I was getting into X and Y, and the box
solid.
was fake. So I got
Oh,
all these great hits.
where'd you get eBay?
Yeah, I think I was an Amazon $40 special box,
Nice.
something like
Okay. All
that.
right.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'll do $40 for some cards, and I got them. And the thing is that, like, even with the fakes, I was like, these look awesome. Like, even if they're fake cards, they look so cool now, you know?
Sure.
But throughout the years, I've always been a little like, yeah, I could buy a Snickers or I can buy a pack.
Hmm.
I'm gonna buy a pack, you know, like just to do it.
Yeah.
I've never been like hardcore, like it went away and I came back pretty hardcore, but always throughout the years been like picking up here's and there's, you know.
Okay.
Um, Ironically, I remember, and this is gonna get me canceled in the Pokemon community. I remember like 2 years ago walking down the toy aisle looking at Pokemon cards, and I saw like the 151 binder in the aisle, and I was like, these guys are still relying on the first generation to sell their stuff. And now I'm like an addict who's like 151. Where is it? I want to rip it, you know?
Right.
So I mean, I gotta eat my words there. But yeah, I've always, you know, had a little, you know, love for it, no matter what. Never kept up with it like I have now, but
Right.
yeah, definitely here's and there's.
And the sealed as well? Like when did this whole sealed thing start?
I would say within the last 2 years, I started picking up sealed.
Right
You
after you
know,
saw that box in the
yeah,
wallet pile?
yeah. I would say shortly after 151 popped up, I started grabbing here's and there's. And I mean, to be honest with you, that was more of a byproduct of the COVID times where I saw how much it was going for in sealed when I
Oh,
saw
okay.
like vintage boxes and stuff going for, you know, $25,000. I was like, oh dang. Well, this wouldn't be a bad idea to just grab a couple of these and hold on to them for a while. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
that
okay.
was where that came from.
Okay. Of course, just some casual investments that.
Yeah, yeah. That's more stonks than anything.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just kind of slowly got out of hand as you kept buying more and more.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's how it goes. Well,
right.
and it really ramped up when everyone kept buying everything. So then I felt like this weird, like when I'd see it on the shelf, I'd be like, I have to buy it. If I don't, it's not going to be there. All right, we'll buy it. And so I
Yeah,
started buying more because I felt like this like unnatural pressure to buy more.
sure. Yeah, right.
And then that led to me wanting to open it. And then that led to me wanting to recoup the cost because it was costing so much. But then I was like, I swear, hun, because my wife's there, you know, I'm like, it's gonna pay for itself, you know. And she's like, okay, whatever you say. And so here we are now. And I'm like, I told you, now look at us. And she's like, yeah, you know, but she's like, we're still not rich. I'm like, we'll never be rich. Like she's like, where's the ride? I'm like, this is the ride. You
Yeah,
know what
right,
I mean?
exactly. Escalator land.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess if I want to get into the collect while we're here, the
Yeah.
collection itself. So after the box that you buried in the backyard
Uh-huh.
as a young tiger, you started casually opening again. And I'm hoping, did those get
Yeah.
kept? Did those get buried?
So let me grab something real quick and I'll show you.
Go for it.
So here's what I did. Now, mistakes were made. Okay. You got to understand that.
I
Mistakes were
feel
made.
that. I understand that, dude.
So like I have like 4 of these. But I got these, right? And what I did is I wrote the year and the set in my attempt to try to collect everything. So when I started my whatnot page,
Whoa.
I started to sell a lot of them, but like I kept a good amount of some stuff over the years, just smaller stuff, some dupes and stuff like that, nothing crazy. But I started to like try to master set every set, which is dumb.
Yeah,
But you know, like as I as I saw them, I picked them up. The problem is that when the whatnot came, I was like, I need inventory to sell, and I didn't want to sell like all my sealed because it was more of a singles thing on whatnot. So I was literally doing what I'm doing right now, which is that I would be like, do you like any of these cards? Do you want any? Tell me. you know. So that's how I started. And I started selling off. And you know what they grabbed? They grabbed all my hollows.
I could see
What a
that.
crazy,
I
crazy
could see
thing that
that.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I still have all the commons. I still have some stuff from, you
Whoa.
know,
Some
some more.
expedition. Yo,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy, but they appear and some of them I love, Like this, I think this is the first set from Ruby and Sapphire. So we have like Blaziken right there, old school stuff,
Oh.
you know. And I think there might be still a couple hollows here and there, but yeah. So now I'm just slowly recouping what I lost from that whatnot thing. And this is always a fan favorite. This is the Return of Rocket, cards. I have a
Yeah,
few
I
of them.
missed that one, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too crazy like Dark Pupitar, Wobbuffet. So yeah, that's kind of what happened there. So I buried the good cards and then I kept some hidden away. And then over the years, just going out to card shops or whatever, I'd pick up, some of the more commons and uncommons and the occasional hollow and put them in a binder. And now I have, like I said, like four of those from 1999 to modern.
And the plan's still on?
I mean, you know, yeah, because the thing is, like, I have a lot of people who come in, and if they're going to be like, oh, I want to sell all these, I'm not going to try to sell like random commons from, 2006. They're just
Yeah.
not going to move. So, like, like perfect example is when you're giving out your cards and you do the mystery packs.
Mhm.
I actually really appreciate that because when I open them and there's an occasional vintage
Hey,
in there, I'll be like,
yeah.
sick. And then I'll check that and slide it on in.
Yeah.
So I like it. Let's see. Check this one out. Yeah, this is another vintage. Check that one out.
I've never
So
why have I never seen that?
this
What?
comes from a deck from
Starter
Japan.
deck.
It's a starter
Ah.
deck gift set. So you could only buy it in Japan. It was a gift set, and that's the pre-evolution of no, this is something else. I can't remember which Gengar it is, but like stuff like this, this type of vintage, I'll pick up all day, and add it to my collection. But generally speaking, right now, the only things that I actively seek out and will make a point to buy is Haunters, Gengars, and Kingdras. I like Kingdra a lot.
Oh, real? Okay.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
third one. All right.
yeah. So those are my main ones. And then like, anything like Squirtle, I'll pick up. So it's kind of messy, but there is a focus.
And when you first started buying the sealed again and stuff, how were you ripping any backs? Did you have a lot of control? Was
I
there
didn't
a fu-
really I didn't really
Oh, so
open
you
much.
weren't okay. Yeah.
If it was like again like a sleeved one,
Hmm.
I would rip it. But yeah, but for the most part, most of my stuff is gone now from just selling over the last 7 months, 8 months.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't really rip too much of it. You know, I got the occasional cool pull, but it wasn't worth it to me because it didn't meet the intention of what it was, you know. And I wasn't like addicted to getting the hits. It's actually ironic because when I did start doing the YouTube stuff and I started breaking some of them, I was pulling hits and I didn't even know that I was pulling hits. So I pulled the Stellar Crown Terrapogos and I didn't know that that was the big chase card. And I pulled the Pheasantipity out of Shrouded Fable.
Nah.
No idea. Just casually pulling it. But when I would go for something and I did decide to rip it like Evolving Skies, I never got anything. So I stopped trying. I was like, you know what? I'm happy with just the sealed product.
Yeah.
It looks pretty. And it's timeless things. So I just kept it that way.
And it was mostly sealed how it all began. You weren't picking up slabs immediately and stuff like
No.
singles and okay.
Yeah. It was mainly just sealed.
And selling the
Yeah.
singles that you did have and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the big thing. So I was selling the singles that were older, that were worth money to invest into the sealed product.
Sure.
And then I pretty much got rid of all my good old singles and then started selling the sealed product to invest in more sealed product. So then it just like didn't work.
The cycle broke.
The gears kind of jammed up here.
Yeah,
So yeah.
what about now? If you did have to, I guess personal preference first. Then I'd like to ask as somebody who also sells, but
Yeah.
slabs, sealed, and singles. Personal preference.
I really like slabs.
Okay,
I really do. I don't like the arguments between the slab like companies. I don't like that people are
sure.
like, oh, I'm only PSA or I'm only Beckett, you know. I get the argument, but overall, I just like the presentation of slabs. Um, like, I grabbed a few slabs because I knew that we would talk about it. To me, like this is infinitely way better looking than me putting this in a binder and then just holding on to it. And sometimes I take a loss. Sometimes I get a stinker. So like I picked up this one, sent it in, and it was an 8. And that's okay. I still have this beautiful Lugia slabbed up, protected, and I'll hold on to it. You know what I mean?
That's why you like tag too, because that presentation is top
Oh
notch,
yeah.
dude. There's not,
Yeah.
yeah, man. I'll give them
Yeah.
that. I'll give them
Like
that.
I don't intend to sell it, at least not for a long time. And maybe that'll work in my favor, maybe it won't. But even if it didn't, like let's say that tag like fizzled out and no one liked it, the card's real and I could sell it for the card value and someone could just crack the slab anyway. So I like slabs. That's my personal preference. I also like that the value of slabs is higher per like I don't know how to explain it, like almost like per gram, if this makes sense.
Yeah,
The size of slabs is so much smaller than sealed, and I like sealed. But if I had to evacuate my home,
yeah.
I can grab most of my collection in one go. If like my place like caught on fire, most of my sealed collection is done. Like, you know what I mean? So I prefer slabs. Binders are risky. Like I was even looking at the binder here that I just showed you. A
Mhm.
lot of those cards are already kind of getting
Yeah.
bent and stuff like that. And I know you can get like nice binders, but it becomes cost prohibitive if you're trying to like get them all. So I guess preference wise, slabs is the most precise, most cost effective in terms of how big the item is,
Sure.
and most like stable in value than any other way. Singles
Yeah.
in a binder can get damaged. Sealed is too big. Slabs is a happy everything. It's like a sealed but in a card size. If that makes
Sure.
sense.
That's a great little breakdown.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about as somebody who has a shop now and sells Pokemon cards? Is there a
Yeah. So I like sealed for the shop because sealed is based off of demand. If you have sealed, it'll move and it's consistent. Um, slabs is more subjective. I have to find myself negotiating a lot with slabs, mainly because people will be like, well, yeah, the card's worth that. But again, it's not very often that you have, even like something that's like $150. There's not a lot of people who walk in with the intention to spend $150,
yeah,
right? You can kind of get away with it with sealed product because it's like, well, dude, that's just where it is. Like that's how much it would sell for in any store. But with slabs, there's almost more of like a wiggle room negotiation that happens all the time. And then singles, they terrify me because singles at any moment can go up 100% or go down 100%, and I can lose it or make a lot of money, and I don't like that inconsistency. So in ranking, I would say sealed for the store, then slabs, then singles. And personal collection, I would say slabs,
hmm,
sealed, singles.
okay. And while we're on the collection, before we get into the channel,
Sure.
I'm assuming a couple of the cards that we saw, the Haunter and the Gengar, are there any favorites in the collection? Like, are they the cards you showed us that you're never getting rid
Yeah.
of that are?
Yeah. So yeah, these are all my favorites, right? I pulled 6 of them. So yeah, Lugia. Again, I played silver, right? That's an
Yeah,
easy pickup, right? And when I saw that Silver Tempest had that, I was like, I'm gonna buy this before, I'm gonna buy it or I'm gonna pull it before it goes up to like a billion cajillion dollars because I knew it was gonna go up.
right.
Kingdra has always been a favorite, and when I saw that art, I was like, dude, this is the most beautiful card. And then I found out that there's no Japanese version of this card. This is the only
I
one.
didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't get this in Japanese.
The
So if you
Greninja
want,
too?
yeah, the Greninja too. These are
Oh.
exclusive to the United States and Europe in English. So that's a great card right there. Sentimental value, like I said. This one is just a cool card,
Yeah, it is.
to have
I wanna-
something that
yeah.
that minty and old. Then you have your old boy, the starter. This is my first ever Pokemon.
Squirtle get
Squirtle.
Okay.
Yeah, that actually confirms it. I just thought about it because I was
Blue?
going back and forth. I played blue because I picked Squirtle. So there it is. That's the answer to that. So he gave me silver. Okay. And then the final one, this is the coolest one of the era, in my opinion, if you can see it. And
I
that's
think
the
it just
Ghastly.
froze on us here. Hold on. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
You're back.
yeah.
We see Ghastly, the temporal forces in a
Yeah,
10.
yeah, the lick the Astley. That's the best one right there.
Yeah. I forgot who pointed that out to me. That might have been Pokemon Doc when I was talking to him, actually. I
Yeah.
never realized that until somebody pointed it out to me, but
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
even turning back, be like, "Hey, what you doing?"
I'm
over there?"
saying.
Yeah,
It's a little sus. He's having
Well,
fun.
well.
He's having fun. So now that you have the shop and everything, is there still any like it's gonna sound weird because you do have the shop, but do you invest still? Is there anything that you won't sell now that you do have, or anything you could pick up that you wouldn't sell that you want to
So,
keep?
so these are all right here that have been sitting on my shelf that I plan on grading that I probably wouldn't. So I have the Gengar, I have that one. This is an error card that came out of this came out of the Costco Paldean Fates mini tin.
Why is it an error?
If you look at it, it's the reverse hollow is for water type. But it's a psychic.
I think I remember you showing me this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we have that. This one's an error where it's like the bottom's been cut off. I really like error cards.
Okay. Yeah, big miscut.
Yeah. Erica Schroeder signed that one, so that one's going. I think the rest of these might go up on the shelf. My wife, so fun fact, my wife is not into Pokemon, right?
Mhm.
But I am, so she's kind of stuck with a Pokemon guy. And so I'm like, look, you gotta like something. You gotta
Nice.
pick something, right? And so I'm like, out of all the Pokemon, you have 1,000. Which one do you find to be like the cutest, right? She goes, well, I really like this one. And I'm like, of course you like Mew.
yeah.
Out of all of them, you would pick one of the most expensive, Pokemon you could possibly pick. So I'm sending these all in to get graded for her, but it's like a little Mew collection here.
I love that Crown Zenith Mew, dude.
Dude, the Sleepy Mew,
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. So a lot of these, like, there are some singles and stuff that I will not sell. I'm gonna keep a lot of my 151. Like I have the booster bundles, I have the Alakazam box, I have more mini tins. Like a lot of that stuff is investments, and
Okay,
I'm not
right.
gonna sell it.
Yeah.
I have a couple Crown Zenith ETBs, and I'm like, I'm not gonna sell Crown Zenith. Like I know how much people love this set, and I know in 10, 15 years, there's gonna be people being like, dude, I just want to open a vintage pack and be like getting hits. And I'm like, well, then you're gonna want Crown Zenith and you're gonna pay a premium for that. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
agree.
there's some things that, like, if it comes in the shop, I'll grab it, put it off to the side, and put it in the PC.
Yeah, that's got to be. I mean, I'm kind of going through it now that I started the rip and shit, but that's got to be tough to, like, how are you drawing that line? Like, you have the shop, you can sell it tomorrow. How are you?
Yeah,
able to do it, or where do you draw that line?
It comes down to does it logically feel like it's going to be worth holding on to in the long term? Is this a set that will move because people have nostalgic feelings towards that set? One of them that I'm struggling with right now is Prismatic. I don't think that people are going to be happy with Prismatic in the future.
Sure.
No one can pull it. Everyone who pulls it wants to vomit after they're done because they didn't get anything. So I don't know if Prismatic is a quick flip and be done with it. Maybe some of the chase cards would be worth holding on to,
Sure.
But the sealed product, maybe not. I haven't made that decision yet. But while we're still in the printing era, I'm gonna keep some of it off to the side. Um, but like nostalgia wise, I think like Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, those are hold on to them as much as you can type of things. If they come into the shop and I don't need the money, then I just put it off to the side.
Mm.
Or if it's something that is like a personal favorite, like if I see more Kingdras or Haunters, like people will like pull up their binders and let me flip through them, right?
Sure.
And there's been a couple things that I picked up. Like I grabbed like this what is it, wild cry or wild war, like I can't remember the Japanese pack, but it's just a haunter, right? It's nothing crazy. I gave him a 50 cents for it because it's worth picking up. um Anything celebrations I'm picking up right
I know
now.
you're a
I'm a big,
celebrations guy now. I know.
yeah, yeah, like that's an easy, grab. But even like some other things like this gulpin, I just find this to be incredibly cute. So
I've
I,
never
I
seen it.
yeah, this is a Radiant Collection gulpin and just
Oh,
bouncing the fork.
that's Generations?
Yeah, yeah,
Whoa.
yeah,
Okay.
and it's not an expensive card,
Right.
but like to me, it's a cool card, and that will just go PC. So I guess I will grab a lot of like low end cards that I think are cool and put them in the binder or keep them off to the side. Um, but it comes down to three major things. One, is it truly an investable product when you compare it to the whole market? What has demand? What has longevity? Two, do I have a lot of love for it personally? If answer is no to both of those, they end up on the shelf for sale. And then three is like, am I gonna make a lot of money from it like immediately also? And like not just investing, but is a common card gonna be worth putting on the shelf at all? Not really. So then I just
Right.
take it, you know.
Okay, before we get to the channel, then I want to ask if you had some sealed 25th celebration. What are you
No.
thinking about that?
I want to pick up some UPCs and stuff. This was a little bit more where I wasn't fully invested in it because I told you I was kind of coming into it after 2020. And at
Mhm.
that time, celebrations was big, but it was like right before I came in. So I missed a big opportunity. I should have picked that up while I saw it. Um, but yeah, I wish that I had grabbed a bunch of it. But now I would definitely like if it comes in the shop, I put it off to the side and keep it for myself
And
at
hold
this
it
point. Yeah,
with.
I would hold it.
Okay, it's one of those you think? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I would. With what's going on with the 30th coming up, and you look up, like you just said, generations, look at the generation prices.
Yeah.
They're big money,
Yeah.
And what people need to keep in mind is like, give me one sec. I'm gonna do a little cough. All right, Marshall, I love you. Cut that part. So what people need to keep in mind about generations and these celebration sets, and I don't mean celebrations as in literally, I just mean
Right.
as a general figurative
Yeah.
thing, right? Pokemon is 30 years old. Okay. At 30 years, Disney didn't have a Disneyland, right? Pokemon already has amusement parks. Pokemon's already bigger than Disney was at that time, right? Imagine holding a 25th celebration Mickey Mouse in today. That probably pulls a lot of weight, in terms of
Sure.
value,
Yeah.
so that's something that you can, if Pokemon doesn't mess it up, which they have all the momentum going for
Right.
them right now,
Right.
they shouldn't, they just got to do a few little things here and there. They should be fine. Um, it only makes sense to hold on to some of this stuff. And literally, I'm not talking about like, oh, give it to my kids. I'm talking about give it to your grandkids type of hold,
Generational hold on the
generational
generations,
hold.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Having that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
is big money for some collectors.
Of course. I would imagine. I
So
mean, yeah, if you were keeping that legendary collection stuff now or something like that.
right,
Yeah.
right.
20 years
Oh,
later.
oh man. I regret that.
So Tiger, if we could get into the channel if you're ready to
Sure.
go.
Sure.
The when and why. Why, when did you start the YouTube channel?
So I've always been in and out of YouTube. I did a couple small things. I even did like old Nuzlocke videos back in the day.
No.
Yeah, yeah. pretty cringe now that I look back at it, but I've always done a little here and there.
Okay.
Um, I think I have a creative soul. I think that I enjoy being in front of the camera more than I let on in my personal life. Um, and so I have a calling to make things. Am I good at making things? I don't know. I'll let the audience be the decider on that part. But I enjoy doing it, you know? And so one way or the other, whether it was Pokemon or not, this was going to happen in my life. So that's kind of the why.
Okay.
The win is to be entirely blunt about it. During COVID, I got way too into reading the news and
Sure.
way too
Yeah.
into that in general,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And to the I still have that where I'm like watching it and it kind of changed me as a person. And so I felt like I need to go back to where I'm happiest, which is more of communal with good games and stuff like that. So I started doing Twitch. I started playing games. I started to just relax and have fun. Um, and that's kind of when it started happening. And I did that for probably about a year and a half.
Whoa.
And then, yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, my viewership is like 3 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I'm going to take the hint. This is not for me.
Mm.
So I moved away from doing the Twitch stuff and I started doing more of like the YouTube stuff. And we'll just see where it goes. It's still really early. It's still in its infancy, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to crank it out. I'm trying to build a presence, and I look at other people's stuff and I go, man, I want to step up my level and be like them and bring a product for people to view that they can truly be like, oh, that was good, you know? And so yeah, I have a lot of like inspiration and aspirations for the channel.
Yeah, because it's only been 5, 6 months, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Of this one, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
There's been a
already
couple others, but yeah.
already 120 videos, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm trying to crank them out. Like I try to do at least once a week. Lately, I've been slowing it down a little bit. Um, but yeah. But like even like looking at your stuff, I mean, you're so consistent. I can't believe
Yeah.
it. You have your two deals and steals, you have your lives. Now you're doing the rip and ships. Like you're on top of it too. And from a creator to a creator, like this is hard, dude. This
Yeah,
is
bro.
so much work. You know, people don't realize it. And they'll say, oh, I get it. But until you're making it and you're sitting there and you're in, whatever your editing software is, and you did your video 2 hours ago and you're still grinding away on the editing. It's brutal.
Bro.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to I don't think I could actually do the trainer talk if it wasn't for Marshall helping me, because
Yeah, Marshall.
there's just
Marshall's
not enough time to, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
especially a podcast, because I gotta edit, I gotta watch the podcast if I'm gonna edit
Right.
it. So right? So it's
Right.
2
Right.
hours,
It doubles the time right then and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You want to make sure it comes out good. So yeah,
Yeah.
you got to spend a lot of time on it. And it's good that you have a third like person who can do it, because they'll pick up things that we didn't pick up in the actual discussion, and it might be like, oh, let's highlight this part, or let's remove this as it's not relevant, or whatever it may be. So it's cool that you have someone else assisting you on the way.
Yeah,
So,
it's like a second set of eyes. It's perfect. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Marshall.
That's
You are
right,
the
dude.
best.
He is, man. So when actually, what was I gonna say? Oh, is there no opportunity for some content with all this stuff you got going now? The store?
So me and the owner have had this discussion.
Sure.
Because ultimately the store is his, right? I'm renting the case there, but where he wants to go and where I want to go, we're kind of butting heads, and not in a bad way. We both
Sure.
respect each other's boundaries, but ultimately, yeah, I would love to do like a POV thing where I'm showing you guys what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if I did that, he would probably it would have to be under his channel or his name, right? So there is a little bit of a clash of identity where I work for Tesoro, which means treasure in Spanish.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool little name,
Yeah.
And it's a great little store, and the owner, Danny, he's awesome, like really great guy, and he gave me the opportunity. So I'm the guest in his household,
Right.
per se, right? So I don't go and self promote in his place, because he wants to make sure that for the customer's perspective, This is a seamless environment, and they don't get confused, right? Because there's been a couple times where we have to separate our inventory, like between me and him. We got to make
Yeah.
sure that our streams don't mix and it
Of
blows
course.
up or something
Yeah.
like that, right? So it puts us in a position where someone's like, well, I want this card and this card, and I also want that card,
Yo, yeah.
right? And it makes it really complicated. So if I go and say, well, actually, I can't trade in that product because you want to trade it in for 2 of mine and 1 of his, and we can't split it because it's a sealed product. Like I can't do that. So I have to be very gracious and, get like the house takes the win, right? So if it is a situation like that, we'll look at the averages of what I paid for my cards or whatever it is, and then he'll like buy me out for that sealed product, or I'll do the opposite for him if he says, you could just take it, just give me what I pay for that,
Yeah.
and we work it out. But for the consumer side, we just want it to stay clean, and convenient.
Yeah, you can't
So-
negotiate with 2 people.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I can't do too much self promotion within the shop.
Sure.
But if you do go onto like my Instagram or even on my YouTube, I just talked about working there. I'll promote his shop, and my experiences there, but I can't really make it about me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, you're being
Yeah.
respectful too. Do you notice other people in this flea market expo? Do you notice other people doing any POV content that you see? Or
There's a
vendor?
couple. Yeah, there's a couple. One
Okay.
moment. Sorry, I think I'm talking too much. I'm losing my voice.
You're good. buddy.
Yeah, sorry.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'll make it through. I promise. So yeah, there's a couple people, especially at that other one I was talking about, that Ninja Exchange, that's more dedicated to collectibles. That community, we're really close. And so I see a lot of different things that they're doing. And there's a couple of them who post on like their Instagrams and stuff, or I'm in their group chat, so I see their icons. And I'll click and see their stories, and I see them doing their POVs, and that's pretty common.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the things that me and Danny were talking about was trying to make it to where our presence on social media is better. But there's so much going on already that we're gonna have to get like another set of helping hands to figure out how to do it. But I did offer to him like, hey, I'll do some editing and stuff like that. I don't mind doing it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Even
as security for like the booth and stuff, there's no camera, nothing running on the cards, or
well, we have cameras.
Okay.
Yeah, we have like little cameras in the booth.
Good. All right.
But part of the deal of me being there is that I'm kind of the security, right?
So, you got a lot of security gigs over there, bro.
Yeah, apparently that's a good point. It's really funny. Yeah, for people who aren't aware of that inside joke there, I had to deal with a little situation at my day job that required me to play security officer for about 20 minutes. But yeah, so when we first started talking, the way I got into it was I offered to help him build out a shop and expand it, because he had just purchased like a larger foot within the building. And we started talking about like paths and everything. And so he splits it. So now one side is dedicated to like lounge fly bags and Marvel stuff and Disney stuff, and the other side's the card shop.
Okay.
Right. Well, there's a wall. And so he can't see both sides at the same time. Right. So he has the cameras, but if you're running a business, you can't look at your phone on the cameras all the time and see what's going on while conducting business. So what I do is I'm an extra set of eyes. So while I'm over there wheeling and dealing, I'm also making sure that no one's like stealing from the shop and stuff like that, because it does happen. It's pretty common actually. So yeah, security is a big deal. And if there is like a concern, like something got swiped, we will check the cameras, and I have had it happen once already.
In store or at the expo?
Well, the store,
or is the store only the expo?
It's
the
expo
it's in there. Okay.
Yeah, the expo is the whole thing, and then the store within it, right?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, someone swiped a Mega Charizard, and so we had to look through the cameras and stuff and see what happened to it.
Any luck?
No,
it's
gone.
Damn.
It's gone. Yeah, but it's okay. It was a heavily like played Charizard. I'm like, nah, keep it. It's not even that good, anyways.
Which one? The XY Evo?
It was the it was Evo. Yeah.
Wow,
you know the one where he's like standing up and
right.
then it's like gold kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. but the back was all like worn down and stuff. It's like $50. I wasn't that
I
crazy about
imagine
it.
that's got to be the cost of business. That there's got to be
Yeah,
some. It always got to happen a little bit.
yeah, definitely. And some of the things we learned is like don't keep our top loader binder, on the edge of the counter. Keep it closer to us, and then put like the bulk stuff on the edge. Like if they're gonna steal, then let them steal the 10-cent cards,
Mm,
not the $5, $10
sure.
cards.
Yeah, yeah. Great
So
idea. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Back to the channel.
yeah,
Starting it. I guess streaming on Twitch is one thing, but now what you got with the channel, and it's now you're into Pokemon now with the channel. Not
yeah.
was it harder than you thought? Easier than you thought? Any?
Like I said, I have a little bit of experience from the past of dabbling with it. I would say that the hardest part is actually the environment that I'm in. So I have my little background and everything, but if you look at my older videos, I'm in like a really small little spot, right? And so when I go to make videos, I have to coexist with another person in a small space,
Mm,
which is my wife,
yeah.
and I have to be mindful of her time, right? So my computer is right next to a hallway, which is over here, which is what leads you into the kitchen, into the bathroom, into the laundry area, right? So while I'm streaming, or on video doing my thing, she's pretty much not able to walk by, which led into this whole thing behind me, right?
Oh, okay.
So that was a solution. But yeah, one of the struggles was that it was hard to maintain a sense of like, hey, I can move freely about the cabin while Tyler is doing videos,
Yeah.
you know? So that was a hard thing to get
Wow.
past. And that kind of applied during streaming as well. But I think with videos, it's almost like you want it to be more perfect, where if it's streaming, like things happen behind
Exactly.
you and it's expected.
Yep.
But when I'm doing like a presentation of something and talking about values, I can't have people walking behind me,
Right.
you know?
No, exactly.
So that was harder for
And
sure.
did you have stuff already from doing the Twitch? Like I don't were you doing Facecam and some kind of Streamlab software, I assume?
So I had a webcam, like a Windows basic webcam from Amazon for like $20.
Hmm.
I've always had a pretty decent headset. Prior to the headset, I had a Yeti mic that I was using to record like music and stuff back when I was really into that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I had bits and pieces and I kind of put it all together. One of the things that was like a full on like, oh, this is an investment was that my old PC died. It couldn't process it. So I had to buy a whole brand new PC.
Wow.
And that was like, I don't know, like $3,000 or something like that, to
Yep.
get one that had the
Yeah.
power that was needed for this. So that was probably my biggest investment to get it all up and running to meet what I would think is at least a minimum. Like I said, I want to always improve, but I needed to go at least a minimum there. And then I got just like a nicer webcam and I got like a little ring light and everything. And I still don't love my lighting. Like my eyes are probably dark right now. I think I could figure it out. Like even me just moving around, like it turned pink for a second. So you know what I mean? Like it's not perfect,
No, of
but
course. Yeah.
yeah,
Doing what you
it's
can.
a developing, never ending project.
Exactly. Always improve, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah. And now you haven't gone live, right? On the YouTube channel. There's been no live,
no live on YouTube
but there's
yet.
shorts and videos with long form content and then some shorts that'll make you
Yeah,
laugh every now and then.
yeah, little occasional drops, little memes here or whatever it may be. But yeah, nothing live yet. I've thought about doing it, but I just don't know. I actually thought about maybe doing a live when Legend CA comes out and just doing that,
Sick.
you know. I think that would be fun. I've also thought about just going live on whatever and just talking to people while playing like, I don't know, Blueprints, which is a new game I've been playing, and just talking about the market and letting people chit chat with me because I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah,
I know a little bit about everything.
sure.
So I've considered it.
Do you have a favorite type of content that you normally make, or like if you were sitting down, was there something that?
Uh, I think I think out of all the stuff that I've done, I think the more humor induced ones, I haven't done a ton of them, but like I did one where I was pretending to be Rudy, like a negative version of Rudy from
Okay.
Alpha Investments.
Sure.
And I was calling myself Timmy, and I was giving people advice that is like the worst advice possible for Pokemon investing, you know, and being like, this is what we're going to do. And like, that was a lot of fun to me. So I would say that like the more creative I can be,
Okay.
I would enjoy it more. I do my weekly breaks, but I do feel like it's a little stale. Um, and talking about the market, it's something that I think it's easy. Like it's the easiest to research, it's the easiest to do, and it's the
Sure.
fastest to punch out.
Yeah.
And provide a value to
Right.
the viewer, you know. Like they get something out of it for
Yeah.
watching it. And I think that brings them back in more than any other form of content. But I like the creative stuff more.
Sure. Real quick, 'cause it just popped in my mind. The
Yeah.
whatnot. Are you still doing? Because that's a live stream. Is that a?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's been probably about a month since I've done the whatnot. Whatnot, I used to do a game. So I used to do kind of like your energy flips,
Sure.
but the way that I would do it is that the desk would be, you know, with 5 different tiers of items, right? So at the lowest end, which is like $1, you would have like a $1 to $3 hit, right?
Okay.
And then you go up to tier two, which is like, you know, a $5 pack. Tier three would be like a $10 pack. Tier four would be like a low end slab, like $15 a slab or something like that. And then tier five would be something more premier, like a evolutions pack or evolving skies pack or
Sure.
something like that, right?
Nice.
And the way it worked is that you would buy entrance or entry fees, right? So if you bought one, I would lay down 8 energies on the table, and you would tell me which one to flip and what energy you guessed. And if you got it right, you won the prize, right? If not, you get a pull box, kind of like what you do.
Okay.
You know, and then you'd be like, congrats, you got this, it's coming your way, and send it out to them. But what made mine a little bit more fair than most people's, because most of the time you go and whatnot, and it's just like rip a pack or spinning a wheel.
Yeah.
And it's kind of stale, it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
But what I did is that your entry fee would allow you to have multiple guesses per game. So if you bought three and you played for a level 3 game, you would be able to guess 3 different energies and tell me which cards to flip. And if any of them were the 3 that you guessed, you won the
Hey.
item,
Okay.
right? So you could increase your odds by buying more. The way I thought about it is I'm setting up like a carnival game, you
Yeah.
know, for Pokemon. And it's a lot of fun, but it doesn't, whatnot doesn't have a lot of people who have high attention span. They just want the deal and then they want to move on. So it's not really good for that. That's something I thought about bringing back for the YouTube live if I did start doing it. Um, but I don't know if I necessarily want to make my YouTube account a direct like means of making money. You know, I already have the store. I
Sure.
have, you know, the expo that I work at. I have the whatnot if I really wanted to. I feel like the one thing that I should give to the people who support me is just a free, you know, like thank you for supporting me. Enjoy this stuff. And I don't know how I translate that into a free thing.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I think you've perfected it. You're killing it. You know what I
Definitely a lot of
mean?
free stuff over here.
Yeah, I mean, you're great, dude. You're like the
Thank you.
only like other than maybe Scott who does that too.
Yeah.
You're the only two I know of that just consistently is like, hey, come on in and win something, you know, and hang out. And that's awesome for this community because there's so much stuff that's money first and then some fun, where yours is almost the opposite. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. That's something you give to the community. So thank you.
You're getting those international people out there too, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no, they appreciate it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's big.
I noticed I was actually before we talked, I was just watching the rest because I don't think I ever finished it of your Collecticon video that must have
Yeah.
taken you, I can't imagine, weeks to
Yeah.
film,
That's a
edit, and
that
upload. And
yeah, I got that one done in about a week, but that's a good point. Like the Collecticon video was super fun for me. I really
yeah,
enjoyed doing that one. And that's the kind of stuff that I would love to do more of, you know. I've thought about even doing it for the expo and being like, check out where I, you know,
yeah,
show,
yeah.
like my work and everything like that, you know, maybe do a little bit, but not, you know, push the limit. Um, but yeah, what'd you think of the video?
I, I don't know how. I don't know how you did it because I went to a Collecticon last year and I had my phone and my little tripod. I was recording shit. It was just chaotic, overwhelming. It was,
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was recording. And then I get home, I got my phone's filled up. There's no more memory on it. Half
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
videos I can't even use because they're like my, like the,
Yeah. Yeah. The side of your
yeah,
pants. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Anything good, the camera was never on it when I needed it to be there. So like, yeah, did you know what you were doing when you went
No,
there? Oh,
no.
see?
So what I
Ah,
did is I brought this. Okay. And
okay.
what I realized is I need to have a gimbal, I think is what it's called, where it stabilizes the camera,
All right.
whatever it is, because it's a little shaky. I had to
Yeah,
go
sure.
into I had to go into the editing software and try to reduce the shaking of the videos, and that was really hard. I don't even really know how I did it, but there's like a stabilizing feature within CapCut, so I had to do that. I had my wife with me, and she had a little cameo in the video. She'd show up
Yeah.
occasionally, but I'd be like, all right, record this for me, you know? So I would say that for anyone doing that, you have to have a partner, you have to have a friend, you have to have someone to be there with you. Otherwise, dude, it's impossible because you're holding a camera, you're holding the packs, you can't grab your wallet while holding two of those things. So you're setting it down, you're setting down the camera, like it doesn't work. You
You're
have to have
talking to
somebody else.
people. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it doesn't work. I mean, you could look at like Pat with Deep Pocket Monster.
mhm,
Occasionally his camera crew gets caught in the footage when he's doing his videos, and
sure.
it's a similar style, right? And dude, they got like cameras on their shoulder, they're like predators, you know, they
Yeah.
got cameras everywhere
Yeah,
on their chest, like microphones, they're gonna hit you with these big old bats of microphones. Like it is a production,
yeah,
you know what
right.
I mean? So it was hard. It was really hard. And then coming back and editing it down and finding the stuff that was actually usable, because a lot of it was not. A lot of it
Right.
was too noisy, too gritty, or just not good content. And then having to like do the voiceovers and try to get that to come out decent. Like it was a pain in the butt. So it took me about a week to get
Yeah, and
that
to
one
like
through.
organize it into an actual video that made sense too. Because if
Yeah, yeah.
when I released mine, it was gonna just be like, here's all the shit that happened.
Yeah.
Like I don't. So yeah, yours was the way you made it into
Yeah.
like a store, an adventure story, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing is I recalled, I was like, what did I do first? And I was like, well, I saw Cheetos Ard, and I didn't know that Cheetos Ard was going to sell for $80,000 while I was there.
Oh
That
no,
was
yeah.
yeah,
Forgot
yeah. I
about
had no
that.
idea. I was like, well, that's a weird one. I just zoomed in and took a little video of it and walked off. You know, and I was like, cool. I actually got that. And then yeah, I knew that there were some things I wanted to do for sure, but overall I didn't know what I was walking into. It was my first time at one of those,
Oh
you
wow,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, never been to like a Comic Con. You think me being in the San Diego area I'd be there every weekend, but or every year,
Yeah.
but no, I've never been to one. I always wanted to go to one, but I just didn't have the means, or at the time it wasn't the right time, or whatever it may have been to allow me. But I think because of what I do now as a hobby and as a little side hustle, it was kind of like, well, dude, now you have to go. You're
Yeah.
obligated to go, you
Sure.
know? And it
Right.
was cool.
Did
I
you
really enjoyed it.
1 day or 2 day?
One day. That was all in
Okay.
one day.
Jeez, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. My feet were killing me. I
Yeah,
was
bro.
tired, and I had to drive. I think it was like 2.5 hours to get there. So you had to add the 5 hours of driving in the day.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot.
The video took a lot, bro. No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was up every night till probably 11 just editing.
That's what.
And even with all of that, to be honest, I released it and I was like, I'm still not super happy with it. Next one I'm gonna do better with, you know?
Of
But
course.
you know what? You always gotta just take the initiative and try. And
Exactly.
you learn, you know?
It's better to put it out there than to not, or to sit there for another 4 weeks and
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I have a couple things I have not released that I wish I released, and other
Mm.
things that I'm glad I didn't. One time I ripped open it was 11 packs of Evolving Skies. And I was like, let's just light $200 on fire. And I kind of was like joking around, but I thought I would get something out of it. I literally got like one like 50-cent V out of that whole thing. And I wanted to like throw up. And then I looked at my video footage afterwards, and it was all just like freezing and the quality was bad. And I
Oh,
was like, oh my God.
the least you could have did was get the
Yeah.
footage. Yeah,
I didn't
right.
even get the footage.
Oh,
So I lost like a bunch of money and time. So that was brutal. And there's a couple other things where I'd be done with it and I'd be like, I just don't like it. I'm either too negative or I just didn't
Yes.
like how my, I was looking or whatever it may be.
I've lost the footage of a Charizard UPC opening a long time ago, back when they were
Oh,
in
dude.
stores, but it was a big
Oh,
deal. It was the start of the $100 box at the start. And yeah, I
yeah.
lost that whole thing, dude. But
And is that the Lost Origin one? Like that's the technical name of it. The big white one?
the Charizard one with all the Charizards in it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah, 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 yeah.
They have
Just
four
making
evolving
sure.
skies packs too and stuff, but
Yeah, I got one of those tucked away just in
nice.
case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's already doing pretty well, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a good investment.
for sure. I think last time I saw it, maybe 250. Is that
Something
might be the
like that.
best price, which is
Yeah. What's crazy is the 151 one is like
bro,
$350.
that thing was 80, $90
I
for
know
like
all day
6
at
months, bro.
Costco.
Oh,
Yeah, you could get that and you could also get the ETB
hmm.
with I think a Crown Zenith ETB in the same like figure. I can't remember
I
exactly,
think
but
it was one or the other, but they were in the same display. It was Crown
yeah,
Zenith or
something like
151
that.
with a
Maybe it was
Pokeball or
like the
something.
tens. I
Yeah.
remember them being connected and being
Yep.
like, dude, it was cheap. And now those are like monsters. I think I saw the Pokemon Center 151 ETB was $600 now.
Yeah. Every time I see it on Rare Candy and stuff, 500, 600. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And that's crazy.
could have saw
Absolutely
it
nuts.
coming. I mean, it wasn't hard to see that it was going to happen, but yeah, just
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think the Pokemon Center ETBs came out of nowhere. Like people knew about them and they were in stock for a long time. But no one was like, oh yeah, these are gonna be investables, like big
right.
time. And now, oh God forbid they upload one, it's gone in 10 seconds. You
Well,
know what I mean?
the Sword and Shield one too. I don't think the only thing I think it was one extra pack, maybe
Yeah,
two, but
that's
there was no
it.
promo card, and it was slightly
Yeah.
underwhelming back then.
Yeah. I think it's just the different art. That's what draws people to them now.
Yeah,
But I bet you also there's a lot of people who are misinformed thinking there is a promo card and they're thinking they're gonna make some big money, buying out those Astral Radiance ones, which is
right.
cool because it has like that cool Darkrai on it,
Yeah.
which is so like the antithesis of what Astral Radiance is as a set. Like it's not even close to being like a Darkrai set. You know what I mean? But
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
yeah, but the box looks really cool. Same with like Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars is like Charizards and Eevees, and yet they have Arceus on the box.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
kind of weird choices to focus on.
That is, yeah, because Astral Radiance was like a Legends Arceus set. That's what that set was. It was for Legends
Yeah,
Arceus, and there
yeah,
was the Palkia in there, the Origin form, Dialga Palkia, and
yeah,
surprised they did go with Darkrai. It is a good point.
yeah, yeah. It just like I don't know, but yeah. Thank you again for bringing up that video. I really appreciate it. That
I've
took a lot of work.
I'm about to bring in a couple more.
Yeah,
To your knowledge, to what I could find, the best video so far has been the when Walmart pulled the dirty trick. It's got over
yeah.
2,000 views. Is that the number
Oh,
one
I
right
think that
now?
is. I
Okay.
think that is and that one was mad clickbait, but not really. I That one was constructed to basically grab as much anger as possible. At the time, people were upset about prices. Walmart already had its big scandal. I think the previous thing is when they canceled the 151 poster collections
Yep.
and they raised their prices by like $4 or
Yeah.
something like that. um I still end up picking up some because of your video, but like that kind of like lit the fuse, and then it was like, and I think right when they dropped the prismatic, uh, I think it was the poster, or yeah, I think it was the poster, and it was for like $40, and it had a picture of the ETB on it. I think
Oh, yeah.
that's the video, right? That was like the dirtiest thing they had ever done, and that was an MJ Holdings thing because at the time, at this point, like Poke Notify was huge. All these Discord monitor systems were like on the rise in their
Right.
peak, right? And so we're all like still kind of learning how to use these things because prior to this, like 2020, no one had this stuff. Now it's all like now it's caught up with the times, right? So everyone all at the same time clicks it and goes, dude, I just scored an ETB. And then we all look at it and go, read it again. And then we see it say poster. And it's like, they just charged me $40 for a $15 box that isn't even out yet. right? I was like, that is some scummy stuff.
Dude, I think I got. Well, I think you hit me up. I
Yeah.
believe you sent it to me, and then we realized that it was the
Yeah,
opposite.
yeah, yeah. That's what inspired it because I had
Yeah,
gone on the Discord and dropped it for everyone. Because usually I
yeah,
don't
right.
do that, but I was like, this is a crazy deal, you know. And
It
yeah, no,
was.
that was a crazy deal. It's too good to be true, you know. So yeah, I was, I'm not super surprised how good that one did, but a little surprised, you know.
Did it start crazy, or was it like a normal video that just kept getting views, or did you know
It
immediately that it was killing it?
It no, it just started out as a normal one, and then
Yeah,
it just kind of grew from there.
right.
A lot of people didn't really like that video. That like to dislike because when you're a creator, you can kind of see it on the back end.
Yeah.
For most people, you can't see it unless you have that plugin. But it wasn't super loved, But again, I think that's because I also was kind of railing on it, and it was a little bit of a negative video. Excuse me.
People also
Excuse me.
didn't
Cut
like
that.
that Walmart did it too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just a negative thing that happened as well.
Right, right. And so it is what it is, but there's another one I did that got really big, and it was a short, and I think it was when Bubble Mew had hit like $250 or something like that, and I made like a little short, and that one got like 1,000 views within an hour or something crazy. I don't remember exactly.
What was it? Do you remember? What you did? The short?
Yeah, I took a clip of this old lady, and she was in other memes. There's like a template, and then it's just her going, oh boy, we're fucked now," or something like that. And then it's just like her like talking to her like grandson or something like that about how bad it is. And it was just me showing the price chart of Bubble Mew going boing, like all of a sudden, And
That's
so that was easy.
that's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about now, the shorts. But
Yeah.
I think your first short was it, if you remember, it was something almost like what you were just saying, but with evolving skies. And then I
Yeah.
think you're going through your phone and it's like the price of an evolving skies pack. And then at
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
end of it, you Google how to sell an organ or where to sell an
Right.
organ.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was
Yeah,
the
dude.
first YouTube short was
Yeah, that was it. That was my
okay.
first one. That one also did pretty well
It
for
deserved it. That
starting.
one was
Yeah,
hilarious, dude.
thank you. There was also the another one that I really enjoyed was my Best Buy one with the Best Buy drop system. If you ever get a chance, check that one out. But it's me like showing the process of what it's like to try to use Best Buy's drop process, and how I was like constantly like it had that that song that's like dun 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 dun. I can't, you'd have to find it, but it like ramps up and it gets crazier and crazier and crazier, and at the end it just says sold out. But it was like me literally recording my live attempt to buy the drops, and it just was not happening. It would freeze. It would take me to like installing the app again, even though it was already
uh,
installed. It was a disaster. And I was like, geez, everyone's going through it right now.
yeah,
Like none of these systems were built to handle the kind of demand that Pokemon all of a sudden had in a month,
yeah.
And it was like a nice little attempt, guys, but there's no chance. But yeah, the shorts, while not my primary focus, some of them really like do well. I was surprised.
Yeah, and I think what was your most recent short, the one where you opened up a pack of Nature Valley
Yeah,
bars?
yeah, yeah. And I was like, it's looking a little rough. It's looking a little heavy played. The whole thing is coming down. Bad print quality. Yeah, that was me, and we're my wife. We were just eating lunch, and I'm like, I just need to make something real quick. So I did that real quick, and
Oh,
yeah, it was
nice.
fun. Yeah, that was just spare the moment. I thought it'd be funny.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Thank
think
you.
it was when you haven't ripped in a while or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. I haven't opened up a pack in a while now. It's been probably a month or so since I've opened my own pack. Everything else is
You opened some from Smoke 'em on the other
that's
week.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
And the wait paid off. I got
What
that
did we
Dutch
get you?
bun or whatever it was, Dutch Hound.
Oh yeah, the Datch
Yeah,
Bun thing, the
yeah, yeah,
dog from
yeah. And I also
Stellar.
got the Kangaskong. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I
Oh,
got some cards.
that was awesome,
So
dude. I was hyped
yeah,
up. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
that was great. That was great. 2 out of 3.
Yeah, dude. What are the upcoming plans for the channel? I know it's only been 5 or 6 months, but where do you want to go from here?
Like I said, my big thing here is that I want it to be a place where it's somewhere where people can get information if they choose to watch some of the like market updates. But again, that's kind of a, I don't know, it's still under development in a lot of ways. The intention was to be a consistent like weekly log of what was going on,
Yeah.
so that way, a year ago I could point and be like, look at the price of where it was a year ago in this video I made. Here's the prediction. I can keep, going back and forth and stuff like that, but informational. But as of now, it's kind of just like wherever my imagination goes, I'll just make something. And if it's kind of like, if you put it out there and the audience will come, if people
Yeah.
like it, great. If not, that's okay too. At this point, I'm not trying to force any particular thing. I'm just seeing what works and what doesn't work. And I'm also learning a little bit about myself and what I like to do, because prior to this, I hadn't really done anything quite like this. I did like gaming videos and stuff like that, but those are a dime a dozen. Everybody does
Yeah.
gaming videos in the beginning, right? So this was kind of my step into seeing like what works. And like I said at the beginning, it was intended to be here's what I picked up at the garage sale today. Here's what I sold it for. That was the original start. And then it became this Pokemon thing, and now it's become like this like hodgepodge of just different decisions as the week goes and what I think will be cool, whether it's market or some silly video.
Yeah, it's become your own, which is
Yeah.
nice. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any specific goal that you have maybe this year? Are we not like subscriber or any of that monetization or
Yeah, not really. Not,
okay.
if I hit goals, like one thing I've been thinking about, and this is not to like farm subscribers or anything, but I would like to do like a really cool like live of like a vintage pack, like a Team Rocket pack. If I hit like 1,000 or 500 subscribers, I haven't figured it out yet,
Sure.
but something that would like give me an excuse to do something that I would enjoy to do. I wouldn't keep the cards for me, but I would just love to like do it and then send the cards out, and open up something like that. But I need a reason to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So I guess if anything, the goal is that I want the channel to be an excuse to do other things. I would love to go to Japan, but I can't go to Japan on my own merits. But if I do it for the business and I do it for YouTube, now I can justify it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So those kind of things, if I can make it work for me, then I can work for it.
I don't like planes at all, but let me know if you're planning on it. I would love to go there.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to
absolutely.
knock me out before we get on the plane, but
Yeah, Dayquil and a lot of drinks, and we'll be fine.
exactly. Anything that stands out at like the start of the channel that just kind of like a proudest achievement or just something that kind of reinforced I should keep doing this or
Yeah, casually pulling Terapagos and not knowing that it was the chase. That was a big one. I was like, oh, cool. And then that was it. Like, it wasn't even a big deal. And Pheasantipity, I
Yeah.
had no idea, I remember when I first started, I was opening up Paldean Fates. And I had a friend who was from the Twitch side. And this is my first time opening up Paldean Fates also. Because like I said, I was kind of in and out. But yeah, I was like pulling in. I pulled, I think, like a Esperatha, like a shiny Esperatha, and I was like, "Oh, is this a good card?" Like I had no idea, And now I'm like, "Yeah, it's Lady Gaga turkey for $1." But yeah, I would say that definitely like the big thing is pulling that Terapagos was really cool. Ended up getting it graded, and that's what got me this. So I traded the graded PSA 10 Terapagos, and then that allowed me to then trade it in towards that at the Collecticon.
Did you do the Pheasantipity too or no?
Pheasantipity, I actually overnighted someone. Somebody had contacted me because I had it on my eBay, and they're like, "Hey, I really need this card for a game match, and you're a little bit under market. Is there any way that you'd be able to get it to me, by Saturday?" And I think it was like a Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that. And I was like, "Yeah, no problem." And I end up like sending it with 2-day priority mail. So I didn't make a lot of money off that card, but that was kind of cool because I sent it to someone who was intending to use it like for the actual purpose of the game. And I was like, cool, I'm actually feeding into like the community in that way. And so now that you say it, I think that also might be a highlight of the channel is like I'm not feeding someone's collection for monetary reasons. Granted, he wanted it for like, oh, check out my cool card, like because he could have just got a regular one,
Yeah, right.
but you know, I went out of the way to help someone have a good experience, and that was a cool experience for me. So
For sure. It's a
yeah,
cool story. Yeah, the Pheasantipity, I think the regular one's like $10 because it's very playable to my
yeah,
understanding.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the other one was, I think it was like 57 or $60 at the time. The guy, like when I sold it at the end, I only made like $28. Wasn't even that much,
Damn.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick that we mentioned it. Did you ever play Pokemon? Like when you were
The
collecting
card
the
game?
cards as a kid? Did you
No,
play the? Okay, all
no,
right.
no,
No,
no.
nobody has. I don't
No,
think that I've
nobody
had
knows.
on. Yeah.
I did play Pokemon Live. Oh, no, no, no. I lied. I lied. I didn't play the card game, but I played the Game Boy card
Sure.
game.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I
Yep.
knew how to play it. Like if someone really, did it, and that was
Right.
fun.
It was.
That was super fun. And I've been playing TCG Pocket. That's super good too.
I haven't done the pocket yet, but everybody's told
Yeah.
me that it's
Yeah.
fun.
I like it because it's kind of like Duel Links with Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like a shorter, quicker
Yeah.
version. It's a great little I'm on the pooper, need to play a quick
Right.
game.
It's
It's
less
awesome.
sweaty. Yeah, and you don't have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do all them code cards and stuff.
yeah, yeah. I did the TCG live and I didn't have as much fun with that one, but I have it,
Very
you know.
competitive. Yeah, it's tough to.
Super.
Yeah, you need a lot of codes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That classic collection you sent me. What ended
Yeah.
up happening with that?
Okay, okay. So yeah, and I don't know if you could throw it in here, but we got this like what was it, like 20 slabs.
Yeah.
So one thing I also want to talk about is I thought this would be very cutthroat. I thought a lot of people are going to be like jerks and undercutting each other and all this stuff. And the guy
Sure.
comes back and he goes, yeah, so dude, I got all these different slabs that I don't need this many. You want to buy them for like 80% market? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, if I can. And I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I was like, these are some good cards that will easily move. They're the right price point to where an average consumer can come in and buy a $50 slab and be happy. It's a lot easier to move that than say like an $800 slab. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I was heavily interested. And I ended up talking to my business partner, and he worked it out to where we traded off I think it was a bubble mew. And then we also traded off. I have one here. One of my extras. I have two of these. We traded off this guy and a tag 10,
Whoa.
right? And a bubble mew. And I think a couple other packs, and we just basically absorbed that all into the shop. So that was pretty cool.
Oh.
But yeah, but the point being is that was from another vendor. That wasn't like just a regular person
Oh,
walking
okay.
in, because we all
Wow.
work together. Yeah. And to kind of paint a picture of what this is like, imagine going to like a swap meet where you have all those little booths and stuff,
Mhm.
but instead of it being outside and in the sun and everything, it's in an abandoned Forever 21. Okay. So
Shout out to it.
think Spirit Halloween, but cards.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. It's a genius idea, actually. So we all rent little booths inside this one building and then sell from there. And it's super affordable. And it brings in so many people because there's so much different booths that they're like, oh, this is the spot. This is where to go to do cards.
Is it like a flea market or it's only Pokemon
Well,
or only
so
TCG?
there's two of them in my area. There's one called Ninja Exchange, and the other one is called Culture to Vibe. So Ninja Exchange was the first one, and it's located in Carlsbad, California, which is over by the ocean in San Diego. And that one was successful, but Ninja Exchange really focused on collectibles. So it's not just Pokemon, it's also Magic, it's also Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that. But you also have like Star Wars figurines, pop figures, those whatever those little Japanese girl figures are, the little anime ones. I don't know what they're called, that you see everywhere, like all that kind of stuff, nerd culture. That's all Ninja Exchange, right?
Okay.
The one that I'm in, they wanted to kind of broaden the horizons a little bit. So they actually incorporated like clothing lines, and we actually had a fashion show at ours. So one of the guys who's there makes his own clothing, and then he put on his own fashion show. He had
Oh,
like a little walkway and everything with
wow.
music and models and everything. It was really cool. And then like you could see in the background while that's all happening, you just got like guys with like, flashing signs as vintage games, and it's like what a crazy concept, but it works out really well. Because what we're noticing is that a lot of people who normally are not into cards will come in to look at the clothes, right? And a lot of guys can bring their girlfriends in,
Mm.
and the girlfriends are like, "Oh, I got somewhere to go," and they're comfortable and they don't feel like they're with a bunch of sweaty guys. You know what I mean? Like
Whoa.
it totally blends
Yeah.
it in. Or they'll come in and bring their guys, and the guys will be like, "I didn't even know this was a thing," and then they'll come back. Super cool the way it all works out. And the guy who came up with the idea was just a straight up genius. Yeah, yeah. Cultured Vibe. Check it out on Instagram. You can see it. It's very cool.
And it's like every weekend or every day
Yeah,
or
yeah. It's called a permanent expo, right? So it's every weekend. So from Monday to Thursday, it's closed. Um, but it's open for guys like me to go in who have a booth or have partnerships with people who have booths to go like swap out our inventory, grab things, do whatever we need to do. But come Friday, those doors open up and people can walk in for free and they can just shop around. The
cool.
amount of Labubus I've been seeing. I don't know if you're familiar with Labubus, but
No,
these
what?
things are like they're blowing up. Hold on, let me see. Hey Rose, could you grab me your Labubu? I
Oh,
want to show this thing. Oh, it's at work. Oh, never mind, never mind. It's like a little like monster looking thing. I wish I could show it to you, but it's not here. But it's cool, and it's very trendy right now. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people watching this would know what a Labubu is.
maybe we gotta pop one on the video. It's like
Yeah,
what, a figure or
it's like a figure from
okay.
China,
Okay.
right? But it's like a high end, like they're like $50 to $150 figurine, but it's like a little like squishy weird dude. I don't know how to describe it.
How do
It's
you
just
how
like
do
a
you
little
spell it?
doll.
Spell it for me.
La, so LA,
Yeah.
Boo, BU. Okay. And it's from the
Oh, got it.
Monsters, I believe it's what it's called. And that's a Labubu.
Oh, well, I've never. Jesus, this one scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, he's got a big old smile. He's got
Yeah, yeah,
seven
yeah,
teeth.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a Labubu.
Okay.
And these are like in every stall now. And I'm like, why do people like these? In fact, this isn't the actual one. A woman came in, this little girl, she was like 13, right? And she goes, I'm not into Pokemon anymore. I really want to sell this so that way I can buy some dolls.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And she's super quiet, right? And I'm like, what do you want to buy? She's like, well, I just want to buy different dolls and I like them. How much would you give me for this? And then this girl hands me one of these.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? And so I look at her and I'm like, you're gonna buy dolls? I'm like, do you know how much that is? And she's like, yeah, I know it's like $500, $600. And I'm like, what are you sure? Like, and I kind of felt like on one hand, I wanted to be Mr. Krabs and just take it from her, at like 350 and be greedy. On the other hand, I looked at her, I'm like, is no one like coaching you? Like, you should not be doing this for something
Yeah.
that is gonna not be worth anything. I'm like, how old are you? And then that's when she told me her age. I'm like, honestly, what you need to be doing is you need to hold that card for 3 more years and you need to keep it safe because hers was clean, like super clean. And I was like, if you hold on to that card, that's a down payment on a car. Your dolls are not going to be that. Like, I'll buy you a doll if you want a doll, but
Yeah.
don't do this to yourself. I felt like a little bit of like a dad. And so I thought she was alone, and then eventually her mom comes in, and then the mom's like, oh, you found another shop. And then I'm like, how much are they like offering for this thing? They're like 440 or something like that was the average. And then I was like, okay, look, I'm going to tell you as the mother to not let her sell this card. I think that it's worth a lot of money and I think it's not a good financial choice. However, if you choose to proceed, I offered her $500 on the spot. And she looked at her daughter and she goes, that's $500. What do you think? And then she's like, oh, I'll think about it. And then they ended up leaving together and they didn't come back. Right. And I was like, that sucks that one of those cards went away because I would have loved to have it, especially because I'm a Gengar
Right.
guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's my boy. But at the same time, I felt like I did like the right thing for someone. Like I can't imagine, like I made a terrible mistake getting back into this hobby, and I can't imagine being that again. I'll tell you the mistake. I know we're kind of all over the place, but I took my legendary reverse fireworks Charizard.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And I threw it up on eBay. It was my first item I ever sold on eBay.
I bet
I
you
had a
sold it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, here's the part that sucks. The card was in bad condition. In all fairness, it was used and abused, but it was mine. I put it up there, and even in damaged condition, like the card's worth like $400 to $500 or something like
Oh.
that. And then I was like, if you could get that thing graded as a PSA one, because people collect PSA ones, having a PSA one legendary Charizard would be something special. And this is all coming from hindsight, right? I sold it on a brand new account on eBay and I sold it for like $320. And then after the fees and stuff were done, it
Yeah.
was like $260. And I regret that so much. And what I learned from that experience was don't put up your most valuable card to launch your store on a website like eBay because people just think it's a scam. They see no reviews. They see no past history of sales, right? So there's one guy, because I put like a floor price on the auction, and one guy goes, "Hey, I don't know if I can trust this. Can you send me a photo of your name next to the card? You know, like with your
Yeah.
date and time." Again, this is all kind of new to me. I didn't know that should have been the standard. So I did that, and then he did his little bid, and he was the only one out of 10 days to bid on that card.
Wow.
That stung. So I saw myself in that position and I regret selling that card. And then I look at her and I'm like, don't do it. Don't sell me that card. Because at the end of the day, I'm just gonna turn and burn it. You know, I'm gonna put it
Yeah,
in the
right.
thing and then someone else is gonna have it. And they might love the card too, you know, but they're gonna have a different reason to love the card. And I don't know. I just felt like, you know, from a collector to a collector, from someone who was in the hobby, who got out of the hobby and came back in, man, I wish I kept some of my older
Yeah.
cards. You know, I think that's a tale as true as time. The only
Exactly.
one that survived this entire trip with me since I was a kid was this one. That's it.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got it graded and it was an 8. And I was like, hey, that's not bad considering I held on to this thing since I was a kid, you know? So that's my most sentimental card. But other than that, I'm pretty much out of cards. You know, like I
Yeah,
didn't keep
right.
anything when I was a kid and I regret it.
All right. So, for how much is that Gengar actually worth now? Because 500, I thought it was like 350, the Gengar. I guess it's definitely not.
The VMAX,
Yeah.
I think the last sold was 600. But if you look at the booster boxes, they just crack $500.
A Fusion Strike.
Yeah, Fusion Strike's now
Uh,
$500 on a booster box. So you gotta like, you know, $100 more and you get the main card of that set, you know. At this point, Fusion Strike doesn't even make sense to open. Like that's a box that you're gonna put in an acrylic case and put it on the shelf. It's now the collectible, you know what
yeah.
I mean? Similar to like Evolving Skies. Anyone who's cracking Evolving Skies is just that's a bad idea, you know. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you didn't crack a booster
Yeah,
box, did
that's
you?
right. No, just the tins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
A
just the
little,
tins.
a little here, a little
Yeah.
there. That's fine. A
Yeah, yeah.
pack, you know, $20. Ah, you know, it's the
Yeah.
same as a drink. But yeah, $1,300. No,
Right.
no, thank you. No, thank you.
Real quick too, before I forget, you mentioned the eBay and the guy asking for the picture with the time. And what is that? I've been on eBay a while. I used to sell cards.
Uh-huh.
I still don't know why people do. What is going on there? What is that?
So what it is that if I were a fake seller, right, and I wanted to scam you,
Yeah.
I could put up a different photo from someone else's Facebook account of their card and then say
Okay.
it's for sale, right? So what happens there is that I'm writing my username, the time, and the date, and that confirms that the card is physically in my hand versus me taking someone's, you know, check out my poll on Reddit or something like that, and then re-uploading that
Okay.
on eBay and then being like, yeah, I'll sell you that. And then they'd never, you know, give you the product. They send you an empty box and they disappear. And You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay.
So
I
that,
see it all the time. I never knew.
yeah, that's what that's all about.
Okay.
And I learned that like you, I didn't know what that was, and that's probably why I didn't bid as high as it could have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you learn lessons. The best
Exactly.
investments are the lessons you learn from failures. You know what I mean?
So Tiger, I got the rapid fire Q&A. Marshall's going to put a minute on the clock. I'm going to ask you some questions if you're ready.
All right.
Let's go. Favorite type?
Psychic. No, ghost.
Favorite starter?
Squirtle.
You have a favorite trainer?
Steven.
Favorite PokeTuber?
Smoke one.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah,
Favorite
probably.
star. That was the first time I've gotten that. I've been waiting. Thank you, Tiger.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's true. That's actually true.
Favorite Scarlet and Violet set?
Um, Shrouded Fable.
Whoa.
Yeah.
First one of
Yeah,
that,
Shrouded.
too. Favorite
Yeah.
Sword and Shield set?
Fusions. Silver Tempest.
Favorite set of all time? Any generation?
Rocket.
Nice.
First Rocket.
Do you have a favorite card of all time?
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't grab it. First edition, Haunter Hollow from Fossil.
Yeah. He's just
Yeah.
standing there.
Yeah, that one.
Favorite legendary?
Probably Mewtwo.
Okay. Favorite
Yeah.
Pokemon?
Favorite Pokemon Haunter.
Haunter. Favorite
Yeah.
generation?
Second generation to third generation. I actually third generation. However, yeah.
That's what I thought you said. There
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go. And that's
yeah.
it, dude. Grass Gang Cousins, that's going to do it for another episode of Trainer Talk with Rocket Scott and Smoke 'em On. I want to thank Tiger one more time for being here. This was so much fun. 2 hours just went by like nothing, buddy.
I know. It actually got really casual. I kind of forgot we were recording.
We're going to have a lot to go through, buddy. But I appreciate
Yeah.
you joining me. Is there anything that the people need to look out for? Anything upcoming?
I mean, right now, guys, my big thing is that I'm doing that rotation within the website. If you guys are looking for any unique cards, you never know what's going to pop up. So check out the TygersTCGden.com. Other than that, check me out on my socials. I'm sure it's going to be somewhere down below. And that's pretty much it. Just thank you so much, Smoke, for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. And Marshall, thank you for doing the legwork to get us up on the YouTube page. And to even to Rocket Scott, thank you for always greeting me like in your little lives and everything, and making this whole situation happen. So very awesome of all of you guys.
Appreciate that,
thank
buddy.
you.
Gang, that's going to do it for another episode of Trainer Talk. Appreciate you guys watching. One more time, thank you, Tiger.
Thank you.